Louisiana Monroe Football is off to its best start since it won the Division I AA national title in 1987. Since transitioning to the FBS in 1994, the Warhawks have only been to one bowl game in school history, back in 2012. This year, they are off to an amazing start led by quarterback Aiden Armenta and general booty, as well as a stout defense that has only allowed 20 points per game. The only loss this season came against number 1 Texas 51-3 in Austin during Week 4. Heading into their game against South Alabama next week, they are one game away from bowl eligibility and are hoping to make their second bowl game in school history. But how has first-year head coach Bryant Vincent done it? This is the Rise of Louisiana Monroe Football. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know your favorite story this season in the comment section below. Back in the 80s, Pat Collins had Louisiana Monroe, or at the time known as Northeast Louisiana, rolling at the Division I AA level. In 1983, they won a share of their first conference title in school history, and won their first outright conference title in 1987, as well as the national title, with a 13-2 record, earning a win over a Brett Favre-led Southern Miss team. They beat Marshall in the title game 43-42, rallying back from a 42-28 deficit. Following the 1989 season, Collins would resign as head coach following a domestic dispute. Collins finished with the 57-35 record, was replaced by Dave Roberts, who went 37-20-2, leading Northeast Louisiana to the Division I AA quarterfinals in 1992. He would leave following the 1993 season to join Lou Holtz's Notre Dame staff. Northeast Louisiana would transition to the FBS level in 1994 to elevate its football program and increase its competitiveness at a higher level. Joining the FBS allowed the university to gain greater visibility and access to larger recruiting pools, enhancing funding and opportunities for bowl game participation. This move was part of a broader strategy to improve the athletic profile of the university and attract more fans and support for the program. The program would fall off a cliff though, going 62-121, never having a winning season during that period, going 2-9 or worse 4 times and 6-6 twice, from 1994 to 2010. There were some high points as they beat Kentucky in 1994, Mississippi State in 1995, and famously beat Alabama in 2007 during Nick Saban's first year as the Crimson Tide's head football coach, going to that game being anywhere from a 25-38 point underdog. The game was viewed as one of the most important games in school history. They did win a share of the Sun Belt Conference title in 2005, going 5-6. Under head coach Todd Berry, 2012 would be a magical season as they upset number 8 Arkansas 34-31 in overtime. The following week, they traveled to Auburn and fell to the Tigers 31-28, coming just short of becoming the second non-SEC team in NCAA history to beat SEC teams in back-to-back weeks. The following week, they hosted Baylor on a nationally televised game on Friday night in front of a record crowd and fell 47-42. They were punching above their weight and made their first bowl game in school history, losing the Independence Bowl to Ohio 45-14 to finish the year 8-5. Their best season in school history at the FBS level. 2013 they would go 6-6, followed by a 4-8 season and a 2-11 season in 2015, where Berry was fired during the season after a 1-9 start. Berry finished with a 28-43 record as head coach of the Warhawks. Max Viador followed Berry as head coach after going 78-33 at McNeese State and seemed to have the program on an upward trajectory with back-to-back 4-8 seasons in 2016 and 2017 before a 6-6 season in 2018. But then they would start to go in the wrong direction, going 5-7 in 2019 and 0-10 in 2020. Following the season, he was fired and replaced by the son of legendary head football coach Bobby Bowden, Terry Bowden. Terry had coaching experience at Auburn where he went 47-17-1, and at Akron where he went 35-52. The Bowden era at Louisiana Monroe is viewed as a resurgence of the program, but would instead be a disaster as they would go 10-26 over 3 seasons and finished last season going 2-10. Since joining the FBS in 1994, the Warhawks are 120-231, a .342 winning percentage from 1994 to 2023. Bryant Vincent was chosen to be the Warhawks' next head football coach, after serving as New Mexico's offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. For New Mexico, he spent time coaching at the high school level in Alabama, and spent time as an assistant for South Alabama and UAB. In 2018, he became UAB's offensive coordinator and later their interim head football coach for the 2022 season after head coach Bill Clark decided to retire in late June. Vincent found success at UAB going 7-6 during his lone season there, and players penned a letter to the school's president, Ray Watts, urging the school to retain Vincent instead of hiring an outsider to lead the Blazers program in 2023. In the letter they wrote, "We as the players and the team want our voices to be heard. We deserve to be heard. We have represented this program and this university and built something special here. We believe in Coach Vincent and want him to be our head coach. This team loves Coach Vincent and believes in him. He is our head coach. He is a great leader and we follow him. We have had memorable moments throughout the championship seasons and bowl wins, but we have never been closer as a team nor had a tighter brotherhood than we do now." The school president chose not to meet with the players to talk about the coaching hire, and they instead hired Trent Dilfer, which has been an utter disaster. Vincent helped improve the Lobos' offense from dead last in total offense in 2022 to the 47th ranked offense this past season. New Mexico finished the 2023 season ranked 74th in passing offense and 19th in rushing offense. And running back Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt finished as the 17th leading rusher in the nation with 1,190 yards and 17 touchdowns. But he would have a major turnaround as the Warhawks head coach on his hands, but not had a winning season since 2012, not won more than 6 games since 2018. For the season, Louisiana Monroe was generally projected to finish towards the bottom of the Sun Belt Conference standings. Many preseason polls and analysts often placed them in the bottom tier, reflecting their struggles in previous seasons. They started the season off with back-to-back wins, beating Jackson State 30-14 and UAB 32-6, and the Warhawks dominated UAB and shut out the Blazers in their second half while scoring 19 second-half points. It was their largest margin of victory over an FBS team since 2018. They would then get destroyed by number 1 Texas on the road 51-3, but rebounded with a 13-9 win over Troy. Their most impressive win of the season has to be with their win over James Madison, who was undefeated at the time. Louisiana Monroe grinded out the win after scores from a 38-yard Ahmad Hardy rush, and a scoop and score by Earl Barkwit Jr. and returned by Daniel Knutson, and a 12-yard touchdown pass from Aiden Armenta to Jake Godfrey. Heading into last week's game against Southern Miss, the Warhawks were looking for their first 5-1 start since 1987 when they were an FCS school. They entered the game 2-6 all-time against Southern Miss, but would pull out the win 38-21, making it their first 3-0 start in the Sun Belt for the first time since 2017. In front of a crowd of 22,645 fans, which was the highest attended ULM football game in 5 seasons, the Warhawks ran all over Southern Miss, rushing for 246 yards on the ground. The remaining schedule consists at South Alabama and at Marshall, followed by a home game against Texas State, before going back on the road to take on Auburn and Arkansas State, or closing out the season at home against Louisiana. According to ESPN's matchup predictor, they are only favored in one of those remaining games, but they also weren't expected to be good at all this season. Vincent overhauled the roster this offseason, adding 73 new players. They signed 35 new players less than 2 weeks later during the early signing period, which consisted of 17 JUCO players and 13 four-year transfers. They lost 9 starters on offense and 7 on defense from the 2023 roster, yet all they have done is win this year. True freshman running back Ahmad Hardy has been amazing, having 500 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground, averaging 5.1 yards per carry, also having 60 receiving yards on 3 receptions. Redshirt junior quarterback General Booty started the season as a starter, but redshirt freshman Aiden Armenta has started the past 2 games. The Warhawks have dominated in the red zone, scoring on every trip this season. Their defense has been amazing though. Aside from their game against Texas, they have only allowed 13.8 points per game. They allowed 51 against the number 1 team in the nation, which brought their average up to 20 points per game allowed, which is still in the top third of the FBS. Monroe native Carl Glass leads the team with 48 total tackles, while former first-team JUCO All-American and MACCC Defensive Player of the Year Billy Poland has led the team in sacks with 4. Wyatt Williams Jr. is second on the team in tackles with 47 and leads the team in interceptions with 3 this year after transferring in from Delta State. Earlier this week, Bryant Vincent was named to the American Heart Association 2024 Paul Bear Bryant Coach of the Year watch list, being one of the 27 coaches chosen and only one chosen in the Sun Belt. Others on the list include Kirk Cignetti from Indiana, Mario Cristobal from Miami, Ryan Day from Ohio State, Dan Lanning from Oregon, and Kirby Smart from Georgia, among others. Who knows what will happen the remainder of the season? Louisiana Monroe may win one more game like expected according to ESPN, or they may finish the season with double-digit wins. Who knows? What I do know is, what Vincent has done so far this season has truly been impressive. He has already surpassed Bowden and is 1 win away from Viador's best season all in year 1. They have a young core too, so expect many more things to come in the coming years. What do you think? How well does Louisiana Monroe do the remainder of the season? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.